Welcome back to another episode of Yammie Noob. I'm back here in Dallas where I actually have all my nice production equipment, and so I'm no longer on the road, and so I'm actually performing this in my little studio, and that's why the audio quality is now silky smooth. It's springtime here at Gummy Cube Productions, and that means that there are an awful lot of new riders getting ready to hit the roads. Bike season is officially here, and with the warmer weather comes an onslaught of young squidlets taking out their steel horses out on the roads for their inaugural journey of freedom, jowl-flapping winds, and Texas-sized June bugs pelting the face screen on your helmet. You did remember to get a face screen, right? No? Well, now I guess is as good a time as any to get started then. As the season warms up, bikers in the Northern Hemisphere start the process of getting their two-wheeled machines ready to go for the season. Unless you live in a nice warm place like I do in Texas, then well, you were probably riding through the winter too. Not bad, huh? Before getting started, we here at Yammie Noob need you to smash that subscribe button. Too many of you are what we call phantom subscribers and are watching without subscribing. Do us both a favor, hit that button so we can get the big boy numbers we know we can to achieve that unholy Triumph partnership that we know we can get. Triumph, I know you're watching, waiting, biding your time until you can strike. And also, if you haven't yet, be sure to check out our free motorcycle giveaway. We already sent the Hentai High Hornet on its way, but the FZ07 will still be up for grabs. However, on April 11th, we are announcing the winner, and we will be revealing our next giveaway bike. If you want to learn which bike that is, head over to my Instagram at Yammie_noob and check it out. Before you hit the road this season, let's all take a trip down memory lane and have a good chuckle at these 6 embarrassing things that beginner riders do. Number 1, forgetting to buckle your helmet. Surprisingly, most riders do actually to remember and buckle all the chin straps and tuck the odds and ends away on their helmets before getting on their bikes. The part newbie riders tend to forget is to undo all of those chin straps and tucked odds and ends before trying to coolly take off their helmet while straddling their Biscotti Ducati in the parking lot next to the crazy hot girl walking to her car. We have all been there, and from time to time, even us folks fall victim to helmet amnesia and forget to undo the straps, showcasing the straps that are actually there for a reason and will undoubtedly keep that helmet from going anywhere in the event of a crash. There's also the other side of it too. It's the annoying feeling of taking off and then scratching your neck while you're riding and realizing that the trim straps are in fact flowing in the wind. You try to do them back up, but your hands are in your nice new protective gloves and it makes it impossible to use the delicate finger dexterity required to lace the strap between the two metal loops. So you stop at the next light, take off your gloves in a hurry, try to do up your helmet, and oh god, the light turned green, so you put the gloves back on, and the process repeats until you realize that it would have been simpler to just pull over and do them up properly. Always do your pre-flight checks, my dudes. Always. Number 2, waddling instead of using the rear brakes. Now, we've talked about this one before, but balance and braking can be quite the juggling act when you're first starting out, which is what causes the affectionately termed newbie waddle. New riders who aren't comfortable with their bikes yet have a tendency to put their feet down before their bike comes to a complete stop. They just kind of waddle along like tender baby ducks, slowly walking their motorcycles to a stop. The newbie waddle is usually precursored by the newbie wobble. The newbie wobble happens when you're at a low speed and don't quite have your balance down. It's that feeling you get at low speeds when you have the sudden urge to throw your foot down and catch yourself before you fall over. The good news is that both the newbie waddle and the newbie wobble are curable. All it takes is some practice and getting to know your bike better, and you'll be braking with your feet firmly on the pegs in no time. If you find yourself falling victim to either the wobble or the waddle, try riding in your clutch's friction zone. If you can keep the friction zone and lightly ride your rear back brake, you can usually crawl at a sloth-like speed without any of those wobbles or waddles. Just make sure you're avoiding the front brake, since that sucker can and will turn you into a wobbling maniac and will likely make your front end tuck and you will fall. Number 3, being the absolute worst at parking lot maneuvers. As a seasoned rider once said, anyone can go 0 to Turbo Busa in a straight line. It takes real skill to execute a figure 8 in a parking spot at 3 miles per hour. Like a lot of things with motorcycles, this point sounds counterintuitive. You would think that riding fast would be the harder of the two, but in reality, for most folks, it's a lot harder to control your bike at lower speeds, especially in parking lots, especially when there are other people in that parking lot, especially when there's an audience watching you. Crawling your way through a parking lot and finding a good spot is hard enough in a car, but at least in a car you have 4 wheels that are firmly planted on the ground. It doesn't really matter if you park on a hill and don't plant your steering in a certain direction. You don't have to worry about parking directly in the sun and having your kickstand melt into the parking lot or get stuck. Or worse, having your kickstand melt into the parking lot and coming back and finding your pride and joy unceremoniously topped over on her side. There are a lot of things that could go wrong in a parking lot, and most of them are just part of learning to ride. Recognizing good parking conditions, stand placement, wheel placement, etc. will become second nature to you once you've been out out and about for a bit. For beginners though, it's pretty mortifying to park your bike, dismount, and have all 400 plus pounds of it topple over in what will inevitably be a parking lot full of onlookers. Which leads us nicely to the next mortifying things that beginner riders tend to do, also where everyone and their mother can see it, bear testimony, and blast your pride all over the wonder that is social media. Number 4, stalling the bike. Stalling your bike is pretty common when you first start riding. There's a very careful balance that riders have to find between increasing the throttle and letting the clutch out to get a bike moving. The technical term is the friction zone. If you've ever learned to drive as standard, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. That first couple of times you try to go from a dead stop in a standard car can be pretty tricky, especially if you've never used a clutch before. Your motorcycle safety course will give you a lot of practice using the clutch and help you familiarize yourself with the friction zone. Before you end your course, you should be comfortably scooting from one end of the lot to the other, shifting gears and clutching in like a pro. Well, maybe not quite like a pro, but you'll have the hang of it. And if you're still not comfortable with your shifting abilities, empty parking lots are a great place to practice stopping and starting. It's a lot easier to get your stalling jitters out in a parking lot than it is to pick up pieces of your bike off a busy highway. So find a parking lot or empty area to ride and commit to turning your clutch throttle balance into muscle memory. Once you get used to the bike, finding the friction zone will be second nature and you won't even have to think about it. Actually, you'll jump on new bikes and bikes you've never ridden before and easily find that friction zone. One of the best pieces of advice I learned in my own motorcycle safety course is about the mechanics of the clutch. If you get nervous, just remember that when you pull in your clutch, you suspend the power going to the rear wheel. When you start to release the clutch, you're sending power back to the rear wheel, and anytime you start increasing power, you want to work to slowly build the acceleration to match the output. Even the most experienced riders stall from time to time, but it does become increasingly rarer the longer you ride. Now, number 5, dropping it at low speeds. Again with the low speeds, sometimes the newbie waddle will save you on this one, but most of the time you'll end up yelling timber and hoping the fall doesn't completely crush your leg. Side legs or middle. You know the ones I'm talking about. Balance is hard, especially hard when you're trying to pay attention to absolutely everything around you. Maintain a certain speed and keep hundreds of pounds of metal upright and off the asphalt. Whoever said that motorcycle riders are pea-brains with no skills have clearly never ridden a motorcycle. It takes an insane amount of skill to keep something as heavy as a motorcycle upright and moving at low speeds, especially if we're going in a direction other than straight. Mother of Rossi, it is 10,000 times harder to bust out a newbie waddle to save your skin in the middle of a slow curve than it is to plant your foot at a stop sign. Exactly 10,000. I've saved the biggest goof of all for last though, so let's hit it with a mic drop. Number 6, forgetting to wave at other riders. There you are riding down the street when suddenly another biker appears. Before you know what's happened, your pointer and middle finger fuse together and you give an instinctual salute to the person coming towards you whom you've never met and will likely never see again. It's a silent wave of acknowledgement between you and your biker brethren, and honestly it's just something that happens when you straddle a bike. Unless you're a noob. When you're a new rider, you may find yourself drawn to giving the old finger wave a try, but maybe you climb up. You aren't sure which hands to use. Is it even safe to take your hand off the throttle, the brake lever? By the time you work out all of the logistics, the new rider is long gone, having given you the proud salute of riders everywhere and ridden away thinking one of two things. Man, what a dick, or what a noob. Now, you know what to do. Click subscribe, ring the bell, throw me a thumbs up, and shout out in the comments. Check out the description box below to find out all about our current motorcycle giveaway, how you can enter to win. We've got our FZ07, though she's going to be shipped off here on April 11th. She's jazzy, red, and fully equipped with a Leo Vinci system that sounds like absolute heaven on earth. The sultry sounds of a parallel twin with a 270-degree crank. C'est magnifique, je t'adore, ma petite saucisse. They ask me, ça va, Yammie Noob? Ouais, ça va bien, je suis YouTuber, you know? You didn't know old Yam could speak French, did you? Just kidding, I can't speak French, but I can speak Portuguese. E aí, cara, tudo bem? Sim, tô falando com vocês, a turma brasileira que assiste os vídeos. Me joga um comentário em português pra eu ler, senão eu vou dar uma surrinha de pamola em vocês. Abraço, tchau, tchau. Fact: your mind can sense someone staring at you even while asleep, which explains why you randomly wake up during the night. Goodbye.
Yeah! You good? You good?